Hi, I'm Vlad. On this channel you can find videos about cryptocurrency, blockchain and finance. We are discussing ideas and concepts so that you can understand them too. Hope you enjoy. In today's episode we will be talking about proof of work and proof of stake. When you go to a supermarket to get groceries, you use a credit card to pay. As you use it, all transactions are checked and validated by a reliable third party, like a bank or an online payment provider. Proof of work and proof of stake are also known as consensus mechanisms that are used to confirm transactions on blockchain networks without the need for a third party or any centralized platform. Unlike in supermarket example, every transaction is validated by multiple parties. Such consensus is called trustless, as opposed to a trustful third party that validates, for instance, your credit card transactions at the supermarket. Trustless or decentralized consensus means that in order to send or receive money, you don't need to trust a third party. In case you store, send or receive crypto, you use a trustless blockchain network. Decentralized systems also don't have any privileged authorities when it comes to the regulation of the trustfulness of the system. When you send crypto to others, miners validate your transactions. Such consensus is called proof of work. When the first cryptocurrency Bitcoin was created, the creator found a way for transactions to be verified without a third party. That's when proof of work consensus mechanism was born. The main concern for this consensus is how the transactions are validated and whether there is anyone on the network who tries to fake them. This is why proof of work consensus is based on cryptography. Cryptography uses mathematics equations that are really difficult to solve. The equations are never the same, and when they are solved, the network knows that the transactions are authentic. Of course, not all computers can solve these transactions. In general, they are supposed to be difficult for miners to calculate and easy for the network to be checked, with the reward given to the first miner who solves each block's problem. The difficulty of calculations, however, is adjustable. It relates to the computing power of the network and increases proportionally. This means that the more people use the network, the more valuable it is. The more miners come to validate the network, the more complicated it becomes to verify the transactions as the difficulty of the hash increases proportionally. This also indicates increased security of the network. Proof of work was invented in 1990s and implemented later with Bitcoin. Proof of stake is another approach to validating transactions. Proof of stake also uses cryptography mechanisms, but it differs from the proof of work. While the latter relies on miners getting rewards for solving complex tasks, proof of stake is completely virtual. People create blocks in a chain and are rewarded on the basis of how much they staked. In other words, the validators secure the network and the stake is the amount of coins a person logged in the network they are trying to mine. This means that in order to have a chance to validate the transactions and get a transaction fee, the user needs to put their coins into a specific wallet that will freeze coins for a specific amount of time. These frozen coins will be staked to secure the network. Most of blockchain networks have the minimum amount of coins to be staked, which sometimes requires a hefty investment. However, the exact rules vary from network to network. For example, in Ethereum 2.0 update, you need to stake 32 of Ether to become a validator, which is in today's price would cost around $80,000. Another example is Dash, where to become a proof of stake validator, you need to stake 1,000 Dash coins into the network. With the current price of $160, it would mean that you need to stake $160,000. That's not a small number, isn't it? But looking at the history prices of Dash, you would find that once the price was $1,500, which means you had to stake around $1.5 million back then. So how exactly does proof of stake work? Let's say you decide to earn coins as rewards from the proof of stake. The network has 10,000 coins available and you bought 3,000 of them that you staked. As a result, you staked 30% of total coins available on the network, which means you have 30% chance of getting a reward from transaction. Once again, in proof of stake, people don't mine. Instead, they are actually called forgers, as there is no block reward but earnings in the form of transaction fees. as opposed to the proof of work and rewards with every new block verified. You maybe heard the news about Ethereum preparing to move from a consensus based on proof of work to the one based on proof of stake. What happens then? First, the validation process will change. As proof of work requires miners to compete to solve difficult mathematical puzzles using their computer's processing power to add a new block to the network, with proof of stake, the competition aspect will be eliminated. The block creator is chosen by the algorithm and the probability is based on users' stakes. Second, the security. With the proof of work consensus mechanism, someone who tries to fake a new block would need to control 51% of the network's power. It means they would need to have a computer that is more powerful than 51% of computer of the network. The same logic goes for the proof of stake logic. In order to fake a new block, the user would need to own 51% of currency on the existing network. The third is the distribution of rewards. In proof of work, the reward is given to the first miner for solving the mathematical puzzle. In proof of stake, there is no reward, but the block creator earns a transaction fee. Fourth is that the proof of work requires a lot of energy compared to the proof of stake that requires less electricity. In fact, electricity consumption is one of the main concerns when it comes to the proof of work. And of course, the network's speed and efficiency. Proof of work's disadvantage is that it's limited in the number of transactions that can be processed simultaneously. Bitcoin, for instance, works on the proof of work consensus and has its own Bitcoin blockchain. It has the ability to make only 7 transactions per second with 10 minutes needed for confirmation. The transaction fee earlier was also very low, but with the growing popularity, the transaction price increased. Ethereum also works on the proof of work consensus, but can handle more transactions, around 30 per second, with 16 seconds needed for confirmation. It's not the quickest network, but compared to Bitcoin, it's a better option. And when Ethereum moves to the proof of stake consensus, it will handle way more transactions per second. What's important for Ethereum community and the transition to the proof of stake is concerned not only with the electricity consumption, but also miners. With proof of work consensus, miners may potentially own zero of the cryptocurrency they are mining, which results in plenty of mining companies doing it for the sake of profit only. With the proof of stake, however, users also own those coins. Another difference between proof of work and proof of stake is the reward potential. In proof of work, the reward grows exponentially with your investment into hardware. In the proof of stake, the reward growth is linear. The more you stake, the more you earn. So which one is better? I would say it depends on who you ask. Both types of consensus exist because a large enough number of people believe in them. My personal opinion is that the proof of stake is better, however, both consensus have their own advantages and disadvantages. As mentioned, there is electricity consumption. There is also the economics of the proof of stake consensus. Like, what if the number of validators is too small or too big? How the rewards will be distributed then? The co-founder of Ethereum, Vitalik, when asked this question, mentioned that there won't be a limit on the number of active validators, but the reward system will be adjusted economically by cutting the interest rate if there is too many validators and increasing the interest rate if there are too few. Then, of course, there is centralization. When big centralized corporations put their resources together to give themselves a bigger chance at getting the reward, they create mining pools. Proof of work consensus allows people with resources and powerful hardware to have a greater chance at winning rewards. The model can prevent some users joining the network while allowing others dominate it. Another concern is the safety. To attack a network based on proof of work is very expensive. In most cases, it requires more money that can be stolen. However, such attacks happened in the past and people walked away with big sums of money. In proof of stake mechanism, if the user violates the network rules, they can lose the staked coins from their wallet. This means it's more expensive to attack the network as you would need to buy 51% of all coins on it. And if you fail, you lose your stake. Some argue, however, that proof of stake helps rich get richer. After all, the more you stake, the more you earn. But it's not the case. In my opinion, the same issue exists in proof of work. Both proof of work and proof of stake are very amazing inventions that provide value for the world and people. The entire blockchain technology, I believe, is the future, though now it might be in its embryonic stage. How it will develop depends not only on teams behind the projects and inventions, but also us. How you use what's out there contributes to shaping the entire crypto landscape. This was our episode for today. If you found it useful or you have suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below and subscribe. Keep your crypto assets safe. See you in the next episode.